Commander Vexther stood on the bridge of the Cosmic Dawn, staring at the massive human ship floating in the darkness. The vessel was huge, easily 3 times the size of his own research ship. Its hull was scarred with battle damage and covered in ice crystals from centuries of drifting through space. Strange symbols and markings covered its surface, remnants of the dead human language. "Sir, we are detecting weak power readings from the ship's core," reported Lieutenant Zaranel from her station. Her blue-scaled hands moved quickly over the control panel. It appears some systems are still functioning after all this time. 4 eyes studied the readings with interest. The Zephyrians had found many human ships over the past 2 centuries, but most were completely dead. This one was different. Something inside was still alive, still drawing power. "What is the ship's classification?" he asked. "It's according to our databases. It matches the design of human military vessels from their final war period. The markings identify it as the Iron Victory, a dreadnought-class warship." Dr. Kelwin entered the bridge, his long gray robes flowing behind him. The elderly scientist was the collective's leading expert on extinct species, and he had requested this mission, specifically to study human remains. His pale green skin showed the excitement he felt whenever he discovered something new. "Commander, this is a remarkable find," Kelwin said, approaching the viewing screen. "Human military vessels from this period are extremely rare. Most were destroyed in their final conflicts with each other." Vexther nodded. The humans had been a violent species, always fighting among themselves until they finally destroyed their own civilization. The collective had learned this from studying their historical records. It was why humans were no longer a threat to anyone. "Doctor, do you wish to board the vessel?" Vexther asked. "Absolutely. The scientific value could be enormous. We might finally understand how such a primitive species managed to control so much territory before their extinction." The boarding party consisted of 6 Zephyrians in environmental suits. The human ship's atmosphere had long since leaked away, leaving only the cold vacuum of space inside its halls. Their lights cut through the darkness as they moved deeper into the vessel. The corridors were narrow compared to Zephyrian ships, built for the smaller human form. Pictures and symbols covered the walls, showing humans in military uniforms and battle scenes. Dr. Kelwin recorded everything, fascinated by these glimpses into human culture. "Their artwork shows so much violence," observed Security Chief Nelthor. "Even their decorations celebrate warfare." "It explains why they destroyed themselves," replied Dr. Kelwin. "Species that glorifies conflict cannot survive for long." Reached the ship's central core after an hour of searching. The area was heavily armored, with thick metal doors that had somehow remained sealed. It took their cutting tools several minutes to break through. Inside, they found something unexpected. A single room contained one functioning cryogenic chamber, its status lights still blinking after all these centuries. Frost covered the transparent window, but they could see the outline of a human body inside. "Incredible," whispered Dr. Kelwin. "The life support systems must have been designed to run for centuries. This human has been in suspended animation since before their extinction." Lieutenant Zaranel scanned the chamber with her equipment. "The occupant is alive, sir. Vital signs are stable but very slow, consistent with deep cryogenic sleep." Vexther studied the readouts carefully. "What do we know about this individual?" Dr. Kelwin accessed the chamber's data files through his portable computer. The human language was difficult to translate, but their systems had learned enough over the years to understand basic information. The records identify him as Lieutenant Colonel Jake Morrison, human military, age 32, at the time of freezing. He was placed in cryogenic sleep approximately 247 years ago. "Why was he frozen?" asked Nelthor. "Thought. Records are damaged, but it appears he was injured in battle and placed in emergency suspension until medical treatment could be provided. That treatment never came." Vexther made his decision. "We will transport the chamber to our ship." "Doctor, can this human be safely awakened?" Dr. Kelwin examined the chamber's systems more closely. "I believe so. The technology is primitive but functional. However, I recommend we wait until we return to Haven Point Research Station. We will need proper facilities to study him safely." The transfer took several hours. The cryogenic chamber was carefully moved to the Cosmic Dawn's medical bay, where Dr. Kelwin could monitor it properly. As they prepared to leave the human ship, Vexter took one last look around. "It is strange," he said to Dr. Kelwin. "This vessel could have housed thousands of humans, yet only one was preserved. Perhaps he was important somehow. Military leaders often receive special treatment in human society." 3 days later, they arrived at Haven Point, a massive research station built inside a hollowed asteroid. The station was home to scientists from all 4 species of the collective, working together to understand the galaxy's mysteries. The human chamber was moved to the xenobiology section, where Dr. Kelwin had prepared a special containment facility. The awakening process began early in the morning cycle. Dr. Kelwin had invited several colleagues to observe, including Commander Vexter and the station director, Dr. Yelver. They watched through reinforced glass as the chamber's systems slowly brought the human back to consciousness. The human's eyes opened slowly. Jake Morrison was tall for his species, with dark hair and pale skin common among humans from the planet they called Earth. His body was lean but muscular, showing the physical conditioning expected of a military officer. Morrison sat up slowly, confusion clear on his face. He looked around the medical bay with growing alarm, taking in the alien equipment and the strange beings watching him through the glass. Dr. Kelwin activated the universal translator and spoke carefully. "Do not be afraid. You are safe. Can you understand my words?" Morrison's head turned toward the voice. He studied Dr. Kelwin's alien features for a long moment before responding. "I can understand you. Where am I? What happened to my ship?" "Are on a research station belonging to the Zephyrian Collective. Your ship was found drifting in space. You've been in cryogenic sleep for a very long time." "How long?" Morrison's voice was steady, but they could see tension in his posture. 147 years. Morrison was quiet for several minutes, processing this information. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. "My unit. My men. What happened to them?" Dr. Kelwin exchanged glances with the other observers. "I am afraid your species is extinct." "Humans destroyed themselves through warfare and environmental damage?" "Approximately 2 centuries ago, human's face showed no emotion, but his hands clenched into fists." "All of them? Everyone? We're sorry. The collective has found scattered survivors in cryogenic chambers like yours, but your civilization is gone. Earth itself is now a mining operation." Morrison stood up slowly, testing his balance after the long sleep. He was surprisingly steady. For someone who had just awakened from centuries of suspension, "What do you want with me? We are scientists. Study extinct species to understand how they lived and why they failed. You're very valuable to us because you lived during humanity's final period. You can tell us about your culture, your technology, your way of thinking." Morrison looked around the containment facility, noting the reinforced walls and the energy barriers. "I am a prisoner." "You are a research subject," Dr. Kelwin corrected gently. "We will treat you well, but you must understand that you are the last remnant of a dead species. Your cooperation will help us preserve human knowledge for future study." Morrison walked to the barrier and placed his hand against it, studying the energy field that confined him. "You think you know everything about humans? We have studied your species for many years. We understand that humans were violent and self-destructive. This led to your extinction." Morrison turned back to face them, and something in his expression made Commander Vexter feel uneasy. The human's eyes held a calculating intelligence that seemed at odds with their assumptions about human primitiveness. "You studied dead humans," Morrison said quietly. "Ruins records. You never met one of us when we were alive and awake." Dr. Kelwin nodded. "That is correct. You are the first living human we have encountered." Morrison smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Then you have no idea what you are dealing with." Observation session ended with Morrison being provided with food and basic necessities. As the scientists left to analyze their initial findings, none of them noticed the small changes around the containment facility. Electronic systems that had been stable for years were now showing minor fluctuations. Security sensors were reporting brief anomalies that disappeared before they could be investigated. Jake Morrison sat quietly in his cell, appearing to rest after his long awakening. But behind his closed eyes, enhanced neural implants were slowly coming online after their centuries-long dormancy. The aliens had awakened more than just a human soldier. They had awakened something their species was not prepared to face. Dr. Kelwin stood in his laboratory, staring at the test results with confusion. The data from Jake Morrison's physical examination made no sense according to everything they knew about human biology. The numbers were impossible for any natural species. "Run the tests again," he told his assistant, Dr. Meltar. "These readings must be wrong. I have run them 3 times, sir. The results are consistent. This human's bone density is 40% higher than our records indicate. His muscle fibers show unusual development patterns. His nervous system appears to have additional pathways not found in other human remains." Kelwin studied the brain scans more carefully. Morrison's neural activity was unlike anything in their databases. The patterns were too complex, too organized. It was as if the human's mind operated on multiple levels simultaneously. "Perhaps this individual was genetically unusual," suggested Meltar. "Some humans may have been born with superior traits. Possibly. We need more data. Schedule additional tests for tomorrow." In the containment facility, Morrison was examining his prison with careful attention. The energy barriers hummed softly, creating a field that would stop any normal escape attempt. The walls were made of reinforced metal, designed to hold dangerous specimens. Security cameras watched his every movement, but Morrison was not looking. For obvious weaknesses, his enhanced senses, slowly awakening after centuries of sleep, were gathering information in ways his captors could not imagine. He could hear the electrical patterns in the walls, feel the magnetic fields of the security systems, even detect the chemical signatures of different materials around him. The door opened, and Dr. Kelwin entered with 2 guards. The aliens carried weapons that looked like energy projectors, probably some form of stunning device. "Good morning, Jake Morrison. I hope you rested well." Morrison turned to face them, as well as can be expected in a cage. "I understand your frustration, but please remember that you are being treated better than most research subjects. We have prepared some tests to learn more about human capabilities." "What kind of tests? Physical and mental examinations?" "Nothing? That will harm you. We simply want to understand how your species functioned." Morrison nodded slowly. "And if I refuse?" Dr. Kelwin gestured to the guards. "That would be unwise. We prefer cooperation, but we can compel obedience if necessary." The testing facility was larger than Morrison's cell, with various machines and equipment arranged around a central area. Dr. Kelwin explained each test as they proceeded, treating Morrison like a curious specimen rather than a person. The first tests measured basic physical capabilities. Morrison was asked to lift weights, run on a treadmill, and perform coordination exercises. The results amazed the research team. Morrison's strength was nearly double what their records suggested humans could achieve. His speed and reflexes were equally impressive. "Remarkable," whispered Dr. Meltar. "He performs like a superior predator. Species, not an extinct civilization that destroyed itself through warfare." Morrison heard the comment but showed no reaction. Sighed. His enhanced mind was recording every detail of the facility, mapping guard positions, analyzing weapon capabilities, and building a complete picture of his situation. The mental tests came next. Dr. Kelwin presented Morrison with puzzles, memory challenges, and logical problems. Again, the results exceeded all expectations. Morrison solved complex mathematical equations in his head, memorized long sequences of information after seeing them once, and demonstrated strategic thinking that impressed even the senior researchers. "Your cognitive abilities are extraordinary," Dr. Kelwin admitted. "Perhaps humans were more advanced than our records suggested." "Perhaps your records are incomplete," Morrison replied. That afternoon, Morrison received an unexpected visitor. Another human was brought to the facility, a woman with short brown hair and intelligent green eyes. She was placed in a containment cell next to his own. "My name is Lisa Harper," she said once they were alone. "I was a combat medic with the Colonial Defense Force. I was found in a medical transport ship 3 months ago. Morrison studied her carefully. Something about Harper seemed familiar, though he was sure they had never met. Then he noticed the small scar behind her left ear, exactly where his own enhancement surgery had left a similar mark. "Project Titan?" he asked quietly. Harper's eyes widened. "You too? I thought I was the only survivor from the program." Audison moved closer to the barrier between their cells. "How many others have they found?" "They told me I was the second living human they had recovered, but there might be more. I have been listening to their communications when possible. They mention other research stations, other facilities. What do you know about our situation?" Harper glanced around carefully before answering. "The collective is made up of 4 alien species. They formed an alliance 200 years ago, right after humanity supposedly went extinct. They have divided up human space between themselves. Supposedly? That is what I find interesting. Their records of humanity's final years are incomplete. They found evidence of wars and environmental damage, but no proof that every human died. They just assumed we were all gone because they stopped detecting our signals," Morrison considered. This information, his enhanced memory, was beginning to recover more details from before his cryogenic sleep. Project Titan had been designed to create enhanced humans who could survive in extreme conditions. The program had placed volunteers in hidden facilities throughout human space, waiting for activation orders that never came. "How many Project Titan subjects were there?" he asked. "The program was classified, but I remember briefings mentioning at least 50 facilities. If even half survived the centuries in cryosleep, there could be dozens of enhanced humans waiting to be awakened. The aliens have no idea what they are dealing with." Harper smiled grimly. "They think humans were primitive warmongers who destroyed themselves. They have no concept of what our military enhancement programs achieved." Over the following days, Morrison and Harper were tested extensively. The researchers were fascinated by having 2 humans to study, especially when they demonstrated their ability to work together with remarkable coordination. What the aliens did not realize was that the 2 enhanced humans were communicating through methods beyond normal speech. Project Titan had included neural interface technology that allowed enhanced subjects to share information directly. The connection was subtle, undetectable by normal observation, but it allowed Morrison and Harper to coordinate their actions and share intelligence. Through careful questioning during their sessions, they learned more about the collective structure. The 4 species maintained their alliance primarily through fear of external threats, particularly something called the Void Hunters that attacked from the galaxy's outer regions. The collective's military was spread thin, trying to defend vast territories with limited resources. They also discovered that the aliens had been systematically destroying human cultural artifacts. Museums, libraries, historical sites, all had been converted to other purposes or demolished entirely. The collective wanted to erase any trace of humanity's former achievements. "They are afraid of us," Harper observed during one of their private conversations. "Even extinct, they feel threatened by what humans accomplished." Morrison nodded. "Dr. Kelwin keeps asking about human military technology. They want to understand our weapons, our strategies, our methods of warfare, because they know that humans once controlled territory that for alien species now struggle to manage between them. We need to escape," Morrison said. "But more than that, we need to find the other survivors. If there are enhanced humans still in cryosleep, they need to be awakened before the collective finds them." Harper looked around their containment area thoughtfully. "The security here is designed to hold normal specimens. They have no idea what enhanced humans are capable of. Are you ready to show them?" "I have been ready since the day they woke me up." Morrison moved to the barrier of his cell and placed his hand against the energy field. His enhanced nervous system began to interface with the containment system's electronics, something the aliens believed was impossible for any biological creature. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "during the next round of tests, we make our move." Harper nodded. "What about the other humans they mentioned? The ones at different facilities?" "We find them. All of them. And then we show the collective what happens when you underestimate humanity." The security cameras recorded their conversation, but the universal translators could not detect the subtle neural communications passing between the two enhanced humans. Plans were being made that would soon turn the collective's ordered scientific research into something far more dangerous. Dr. Kelwin, reviewing the day's test results in his office, noticed some unusual readings from the containment facilities, security systems. Minor fluctuations in power levels, brief anomalies in sensor data, small glitches that appeared and disappeared too. Quickly to analyze properly, he made a note to have the technical staff check the equipment in the morning. It never occurred to him that the glitches were not malfunctions, but signs that something was learning to interface with their technology in ways they had never imagined possible. The morning started like any other day at Haven Point Research Station. Dr. Kelwin arrived at his laboratory early, eager to continue his studies of the two human subjects. The previous day's tests had shown even more remarkable abilities, and he was beginning to suspect that humans might have been more advanced than anyone realized. "Prepare the neural interface testing chamber," he told Dr. Melter. "I want to understand how human brain patterns differ from our own species." Morrison and Harper were brought to the testing facility under heavy guard. The aliens had increased security after detecting more unusual readings from the containment systems. 6 guards now accompanied each human, all carrying the latest stunning weapons. "Today we will examine your neural functions more closely," Dr. Kelwin explained as Morrison was secured to the testing chair. "The procedure will not harm you, but we need you to remain perfectly still." Morrison nodded calmly, but Harper noticed the slight tension in his shoulders. Through their neural link, she felt his readiness. Today was the day they would show these aliens what enhanced humans could really do. The neural scanner activated, sending probe signals into Morrison's brain. Dr. Kelwin watched the readings with growing amazement. The human brain was far more complex than their models suggested. Multiple areas were active simultaneously, creating patterns that seemed almost like a computer network. "Fascinating," he whispered to his assistant. "Look at these pathways." It is as if his mind operates on several levels at once. What Dr. Kelwin did not realize was that Morrison was using the scanner's own signals as a pathway into the station's computer systems. His enhanced neural implants, designed for direct interface with technology, were turning the medical equipment into a gateway. Morrison's consciousness expanded beyond his physical body, flowing through the station's data networks like electricity. Through wire, he could see everything now: security systems, power grids, communication arrays, even the personal files of every researcher on the station. In the station's main database, found something that made his enhanced heart race with excitement. Records of other human discoveries, dozens of locations where humans had been found in cryosleep, names, coordinates, facility designations. The collective had been systematically collecting human survivors for years. More importantly, he found the location of something called the archive. According to the classified files, it was a massive human facility that the collective had discovered but never been able to enter. The security systems were too advanced, the defenses too dangerous. They had marked it as a restricted zone and left it alone. Morrison knew what the archive was. It had been his mission to protect it before the cryosleep. The facility contained everything: genetic samples, technological blueprints, cultural records, and most importantly, hundreds of enhanced humans waiting for activation. Through their neural link, Harper felt Morrison's discovery. Her own enhanced abilities were different from his. She specialized in technical systems and medical applications. While Morrison explored the data networks, she was slowly taking control of the medical equipment around her. Doctor called one of the technicians. "We are getting some unusual readings from the scanner." Dr. Kelwin looked at his instruments with concern. The power levels were fluctuating wildly, and several systems were showing error messages. "Shut it down immediately." But it was too late. Morrison had what he needed. As the scanner powered down, he opened his eyes and looked directly at Dr. Kelwin. "You made a mistake," Morrison said quietly. "What mistake?" "You connected me to your computer systems." Before anyone could react, every electronic device in the testing facility began to malfunction. Lights flickered, security barriers failed, and the guards' weapons suddenly stopped working. Morrison stood up from the testing chair, easily breaking restraints that should have held a creature 10 times stronger. The guards rushed forward, but Morrison moved like liquid lightning. His enhanced reflexes operated at superhuman speed, allowing him to dodge their attacks and strike back with precision. Within seconds, all 6 guards were unconscious on the floor. Harper had freed herself as well, her technical skills allowing her to override the locks on her own restraints. She moved to the facility's control panel and began accessing the station's systems directly. Security alert. Dr. Kelwin shouted into his communicator. The humans have escaped.
Oh.
All units to the testing facility. Morrison grabbed the doctor by his robes. How many humans have you found? How many are still alive? I do not know what you mean, Kelwin stammered. Your database says otherwise. Morrison's grip tightened. 47 facilities. 12,000 human survivors. You have been collecting us like specimens for decades. Dr. Kelwin's face went pale. That information was classified at the highest levels. There was no way a primitive human could have accessed it. Harper finished her work at the control panel. I have the navigation data for all human recovery sites, she called out. And I found something else. The archive is only 3 days from here. Security forces poured into the facility, but they were facing opponents unlike anything they had trained for. Morrison and Harper moved through the guards like a force of nature, their enhanced abilities allowing them to predict attacks before they happened and respond with overwhelming efficiency. Seal the facility, ordered Security Chief Nelthor over the communication system. Do not let them reach the ship bay. But the 2 humans were already moving through Haven Point's corridors with purpose. Harper had downloaded the complete station layout, and Morrison's tactical mind was calculating the best route to their escape ship. They encountered resistance at every turn. But the station's defenders were not prepared for enhanced humans operating at full capability. Morrison could interface with door controls by touch, opening barriers that should have stopped them. Harper could predict the guards' movements by analyzing their equipment's electronic signatures in the station's command center. Commander Vexther watched the security feeds with growing horror. The 2 humans were carving through his forces like they were nothing. Every weapon, every defensive system, every tactical advantage his people possessed seemed useless against these creatures. Sir, they are heading for the communication array, reported his aide. Stop them. If they access our communication systems, they could contact other human survivors. But it was too late. Harper reached the main communication chamber and placed her hands on the control panel. Her enhanced neural implants connected directly with the station's most powerful transmitters. Sending signals across the galaxy, the message was simple but devastating. This is Lisa Harper, human survivor. We are alive. We are coming. Await. Activation protocols? On distant worlds, in hidden facilities scattered throughout former human space, automated systems began to respond to the signal. Cryo chambers that had been dormant for centuries started their awakening sequences. Enhanced humans who had slept through humanity's supposed extinction began to open their eyes. Morrison joined Harper at the communication station. How many? Responded. At least 30 facilities have acknowledged the signal, maybe more. The network is spreading the message automatically. Through the station's speakers, Commander Vexler's voice echoed with panic. All units converge on the communication array. Stop them at any cost. Morrison turned to Harper. Time to go. They fought their way to the ship bay, where Morrison's enhanced senses had detected a fast attack craft suitable for their escape. The ship's security systems were no match for their combined abilities. Harper disabled the electronic locks while Morrison physically overpowered the mechanical barriers as they prepared the ship for departure. Morrison accessed the station's main communication system one more time. His message went out on all frequencies directed at the collective's leadership. This is Lieutenant Colonel Jake Morrison, human military. You thought we were extinct? You were wrong. You captured us, studied us, treated us like animals. Was your mistake? We are not the primitive species you believed us to be. We are enhanced humans, and there are thousands of us awakening across the galaxy. You have three choices. Release all human prisoners immediately, return our stolen territories, or face the consequences of your actions. You have awakened something you cannot control. The attack craft launched from Haven Point as station security. Scrambled to intercept them. But Morrison's piloting skills, enhanced far beyond normal human capability, allowed him to evade their pursuit ships with ease. As they entered hyperspace, Harper looked back at the research station growing smaller. Behind them, they will warn the entire collective about us now. Morrison nodded grimly. Good. Let them be afraid. Fear will make them make mistakes. Where do we go first? Morrison pulled up the navigation data they had stolen. The archive. If it is still intact, it contains everything we need to restore humanity. More importantly, it contains the location of every Project Titan facility ever built. And if the collective tries to stop us, Morrison's expression hardened. Then they will learn why humans once controlled half the galaxy. They think they know about human warfare because they've studied our history. But they never faced us when we were alive, enhanced, and angry. The emergency session of the Collective Council had been going for 6 hours, and panic filled the Great Chamber. Representatives from all 4 species sat around the massive circular table, their voices raised in argument and fear. The escape of 2 humans from Haven Point had shattered everything they believed about the extinct species. Supreme Chancellor Kexavel, leader of the Zephyrian government, called for order. His scaled face showed the strain of the crisis. Must face the truth. Our assumptions about humanity were completely wrong. General Thakmer of the Crowleen military slammed his heavy fist on the table. 2 prisoners escaped from a research station. This is not the end of our civilization. You did not see the security recordings, replied Admiral Yintel. These humans moved through our best defenses like they were nothing. Their abilities are far beyond anything in our databases. Dr. Kelwin, who had been brought to testify before the council, stood nervously at the witness podium. Honored leaders, I must report that the human called Morrison accessed our computer systems through direct neural interface. This should be impossible for any biological creature. Explain, demanded Chancellor Kexavel. He connected his brain to our equipment somehow. In seconds, he downloaded classified information that would take our best computers hours to process. Then he took control of our entire security network. Silence fell over the chamber. The implications were terrifying. If humans could interface directly with technology, then no computer system in the collective was safe. What about the message they transmitted? Asked Councilmember Valona. Dr. Kelwin's voice shook as he answered. We've detected responses from 37 locations across former human space. Automated systems are activating. Waking up. Meanwhile, Morrison and Harper's stolen ship dropped out of hyperspace near a dead solar system at the edge of former human territory. According to the stolen navigation data, the archive was hidden somewhere in this empty region of space. I am not detecting anything, Harper said, studying her instruments. No energy signatures, no artificial structures. Morrison smiled slightly. The archive was designed to be invisible. Try scanning for gravitational anomalies instead of energy readings. Harper adjusted her sensors and immediately found what they were looking for. A massive object was hidden in the asteroid belt, its gravity signature much too large for any natural space rock. As they approached, the object began to change. What had appeared to be an ordinary asteroid suddenly opened, like a flower revealing a military installation the size of a small moon. Defense platforms emerged from hidden positions, but instead of firing, they transmitted identification requests. Morrison placed his hand on the ship's communication panel, allowing his neural implants to interface with the archive's security systems. After a moment, the massive doors opened to welcome them home. Inside the archive, automated systems had already begun the awakening process. Hundreds of cryo chambers lined the facility's walls, their status lights blinking as enhanced. Humans began to emerge from centuries of sleep. Morrison and Harper were met by the facility's artificial intelligence, a holographic figure that appeared as they docked their ship. Welcome, Colonel Morrison. I am Alex, the archive's managing AI. I have been waiting for your activation signal. For 247 years. Status report. Alex. How many enhanced humans do we have? 412 Project Titan subjects are currently being awakened. An additional 600 remain in deep storage, awaiting your orders. All systems are functional, though some equipment will require calibration after the long dormancy. Harper was amazed by the size of the facility. This place is enormous. What exactly is stored here? Alex's holographic form gestured to vast chambers filled with equipment and data storage units. The complete genetic, cultural, and technological heritage of humanity. Manufacturing facilities capable of producing any technology developed before the sleep period. Weapons, ships, medical equipment, and most importantly, the locations of every human colony, military base, and research facility ever established. Morrison felt a surge of hope. How many human survivors are there? Based on responses to your activation signal, at least 43 separate facilities have acknowledged contact. Conservative estimates suggest 12,000 humans remain in cryo-sleep throughout the galaxy. Over the following days, enhanced humans from the archive began launching rescue missions to recover their sleeping brothers and sisters. Each operation was planned with precision that amazed even Morrison. The enhanced humans could coordinate their actions across multiple star systems simultaneously, sharing information through their neural networks. Captain Ben Clark was among the first to be awakened. The former naval strategist immediately took charge of military planning, his enhanced mind capable of processing tactical information at superhuman speed. The collective has spread themselves thin, he reported to Morrison during their first strategy meeting. They control vast territories, but with limited forces. Their military doctrine assumes they will face conventional opponents. Dr. Amy Foster, awakened from a hidden facility near the former human core worlds, brought disturbing news about collective activities. They have been strip mining human worlds for decades. Earth itself has been hollowed out for raw materials. But I found something else in their databases. Weapons research based on captured human technology. Morrison studied the intelligence reports with growing concern. They have been reverse engineering our equipment. Attempting to, Dr. Foster corrected. Their technology is fundamentally different from ours. Most human systems require neural interface capabilities they do not possess. Sergeant Ryan Kelly, rescued from a collective prison facility, had spent decades planning revenge against his captors. His enhanced tactical abilities made him invaluable for planning strike operations. Sir, I recommend we target their communication networks first, he suggested. If we can disrupt their ability to coordinate responses, we can rescue more humans. Before they organize effective resistance, the first major rescue operation targeted a collective research station in the Vega system, where intelligence indicated 50 humans were being held for medical experiments. Morrison led the assault himself, commanding a ship that had been constructed in the archive's automated factories. The attack lasted less than 10 minutes. Morrison's team disabled the station's defenses without destroying them, rescued all human prisoners, and departed before collective reinforcements could arrive. The precision of the operation sent shockwaves throughout collective space. Alina Rodriguez was among the humans rescued from Vega Station. The former intelligence officer brought crucial information about collective weaknesses. Their alliance is not as stable as they pretend, she told Morrison during debriefing. Each species maintains separate military forces. They cooperate only when facing external threats. What kind of external threats? Something called the Void Hunters? Deep space raiders that attack from the galaxy's outer rim. The collective spends enormous resources defending against them. Morrison realized this information was crucial. If the collective is already fighting another enemy, they cannot concentrate their full strength against us. As more humans were rescued and awakened, their capabilities grew exponentially. Enhanced individuals could network their consciousness together temporarily, creating collective intelligence that could solve complex problems in minutes rather than years. Dr. Foster made a breakthrough in understanding collective technology. Their computers use quantum processing methods that are vulnerable to direct neural interface, she explained. An enhanced human can take control of their systems faster than their security protocols can respond. The implications were staggering. Human forces began conducting surgical strikes throughout collective space. targeting key installations with devastating effectiveness. They rescued human prisoners, captured enemy technology, and demonstrated capabilities that terrified the Alien Alliance Commander Vexther, now disgraced after the Haven Point incident, was reassigned to a border patrol vessel. During a routine mission, his ship encountered a human task force led by Morrison himself. Instead of attacking the humans, transmitted a message. "Commander, this is Colonel Morrison. I want you to deliver a message to your leaders." Vexther activated his communication system with trembling hands. "I am listening. Tell them that humanity offers one chance for peaceful resolution. Return all human prisoners. Withdraw from all former human territories. Acknowledge human sovereignty. Over our ancestral lands, they have 30 days to comply. And if we refuse," Morrison's voice was cold and final, "then you will discover why humans once controlled half the galaxy, and why it was a mistake to assume we were extinct." The message was delivered to the Collective Council, where it caused even greater panic. Long-range sensors were detecting human ships appearing throughout their territory, moving with coordination and purpose that seemed impossible for any known species. General Thakmar still argued for military action. "We outnumber them thousands to one. How can such a small force threaten our entire civilization?" The answer came from Dr. Kelwin, who had been studying the intelligence reports. "Because they are not fighting like the humans we thought we knew." The 30 days passed quickly, and the collective's answer came in the form of a massive fleet assembled near the border of former human space. Over 3,000 warships from all four species had gathered under the command of General Thakmar, representing the largest military force in collective history. "We will not bow to extinct animals," General Thakmar declared to his assembled commanders. "Today we end this human threat forever." Collective fleet moved toward the archive's location with overwhelming confidence. Their ships outnumbered any possible human force by more than 10 to 1, advanced weapon systems that had defended the Alliance for centuries were ready to demonstrate their power. But as they approached the coordinates where the archive was hidden, space around them began to change. What had appeared empty suddenly filled with human vessels emerging from stealth fields and hidden positions. The humans had been waiting. Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, a newly constructed dreadnought called the New Dawn. Around him, 200 enhanced humans coordinated the defense through their neural networks, their minds working as one vast intelligence. General Thakmar Morrison transmitted to the collective fleet. "This is your final warning. Withdraw your forces and accept our terms." The alien general's response came immediately. "Surrender now, human. And we might allow some of your kind to live as research subjects." Morrison nodded to his tactical officer, Captain Ben Clark. "Show them what they are facing." The human fleet moved with precision that defied belief. Ship responded to commands instantly, coordinating their actions like parts of a single organism. The enhanced humans could share tactical information faster than any computer network, allowing them to adapt to changing battle conditions in real time. The first exchange of weapons fire revealed the terrible truth about human technology. Collective energy beams that should have destroyed human ships simply disappeared into energy absorption fields. Meanwhile, human weapons cut through alien defenses like they were made of paper. Impossible. General Thakmar shouted as he watched his flagship's shields collapse under human fire. "Their technology should be inferior to ours." Dr. Amy Foster's voice came over the communication channel from her position aboard a human science vessel. "Your technology is 200 years behind ours, General. We've been improving our designs while you thought we were extinct." The battle turned into a demonstration rather than a fight. Human ships disabled collective vessels without destroying them, capturing crews rather than killing them. It was a precise, calculated display of overwhelming superiority that left no doubt about the outcome. Within an hour, the entire collective fleet was either captured or fleeing in panic. General Thakmar found himself a prisoner aboard Morrison's flagship, staring at capabilities he could not comprehend. How was all the alien general could manage to say? Morrison gestured to the enhanced humans working around them. "You studied dead humans and assumed you understood us. But you never met us while we were alive and enhanced. You never saw what we could become when we worked together." On the collective homeworld, Chancellor Kexavel received the battle reports with growing despair. Their most powerful fleet had been defeated without the humans suffering a single casualty. Panic was spreading throughout collective space as the reality of human superiority became undeniable. Commander Vexther, still assigned to Border Patrol after his disgrace at Haven Point, received an unexpected communication from Morrison himself. "Commander, I have a proposition for you." Morrison's image appeared on his screen. "What do you want, human?" "I want you to arrange a meeting with your government leaders. It is time to end this conflict before it destroys both our civilizations." The meeting took place aboard a neutral space station in the buffer zone between human and collective territory. Chancellor Kexaval came with a small diplomatic party, while Morrison arrived with only a few advisors. The difference in their demeanor was striking. The aliens were nervous and afraid, while the humans appeared calm and confident. "You have proven your military superiority," Chancellor Kexavel began. "What are your terms for peace?" Morrison placed a datapad on the table between them. "Our demands are simple. All human prisoners must be released immediately. All former human territories will be returned to human control. Reparations will be paid for the damage done to human worlds and the suffering of human captives." "Terms would destroy the collective," protested the Chancellor. "Your collective was built on the assumption that humanity was extinct," Morrison replied. "That assumption was wrong. Now you must adapt to a galaxy where humans are once again a major power." Dr. Kelwin, who had been brought as an advisor, spoke hesitantly. "What about coexistence? Surely there is room in the galaxy for both our civilizations." Morrison studied the alien scientist for a moment. "Dr. Kelwin, you treated me and Lisa Harper with respect during our captivity. You were curious about us rather than cruel. That is why you are here for these negotiations instead of in a prison cell." The Chancellor leaned forward. "You speak of coexistence, but your people have every reason to seek revenge for what we have done." "Revenge would be easy, Morrison. Agreed, we could destroy your fleets, conquer your worlds, and treat you the way you treated us. That would make us no better than you believed we were." Alina Rodriguez, serving as Morrison's intelligence advisor, activated a holographic display showing the galaxy's current political situation. "We have a common enemy that makes cooperation necessary. Void hunters have been growing stronger. While you focused on hunting extinct humans," Chancellor Kexavel's eyes widened as he saw the intelligence reports. "How do you know about the Void Hunters?" "We know everything about them," Captain Ben Clark replied. "Our enhanced capabilities allow us to process information your species cannot handle. We have been studying the threat while you wasted resources trying to cage us." Morrison stood and walked to the viewing window, looking out at the stars. "Void Hunters are not random raiders. They are scouts for something much larger. Within 50 years, they will launch a full invasion of this galaxy. Neither humans nor the collective can face that threat alone." "What do you propose?" the Chancellor asked quietly. Morrison turned back to face the alien delegation. "A new alliance. The Terran Accord. Humans will take the lead in coordinating defense against the Void Hunters, while the collective species maintain autonomy over their internal affairs. Former human territories will be returned, but we will establish joint research facilities to develop new technologies." Dr. Kelwin looked hopeful. "And human prisoners?" "All will be released and given the choice of where to live. To remain in collective space if they have built lives there. Others will return to human worlds. The important thing is that it will be their choice." The negotiations continued for several days, with Morrison demonstrating a wisdom that surprised even his own people. The enhanced humans could have demanded total surrender, but instead they chose a path that would strengthen the galaxy against future threats. The final agreement established the Terran Accord as the galaxy's new governing body, with humans and collective species working together as equals rather than captors and prisoners. Human technology would be shared to improve everyone's defensive capabilities, while collective resources would help rebuild the worlds that had been stripped. Commander Vexther was among the first alien officers to request assignment to joint human collective units. "I want to understand what we missed about humanity," he told Morrison during their final meeting. Morrison smiled. First genuinely warm expression the alien had seen from him. We're not the primitive warmongers. You. I thought we were commander. But we are not saints either. We are humans, complex, contradictory, and capable of both great destruction and great creation. The choice of which path we take depends on how we are treated by those around us. As human ships began returning to their ancestral territories, Morrison stood once again on the bridge of the New Dawn. Lisa Harper joined him at the viewing window, watching as human colonies awakened from centuries of darkness. "Do you think the alliance will last?" she asked. Morrison considered the question carefully. The collective learned what happens when they underestimate humanity. Now they will learn what happens when they work with us instead of against us. Either way, humans are back among the stars where we belong. The galaxy had entered a new age. Humanity had returned from extinction stronger than ever before, but tempered by their experience as both conquerors and victims. The future would bring new challenges, but for the first time in centuries, humans and aliens would face them together. The human awakening was complete.